Hey everybody, Robert with Shrewd Archery. Today's video, I'm going to give us 2 drills that you can do that will help you increase your steadiness on target. These are going to directly affect how well you can aim on target and give you some ideas of what to build practice around to actually help you become a better archer. All right, this first one that we're going to talk about today is going over how we draw the bow. We want to make sure that we are limiting excess movements and really just diving down into the essential movements that are needed. So having our body staying still, not bending, moving around, shuffling our feet. We don't want to be moving our head and neck and doing anything to get into anchor or before we draw or anything like that. We want to limit this to literally being able to raise the bow up, draw the bow back, and anchor. One of the things that I like to focus on with this is keeping my shoulders over my hips and my hips over my feet. This keeps the center of my balance in the middle of my body. It's also going to help me keep from leaning in weird directions or moving in weird ways. And then another thing that I like to do is actually making sure that my release hand is coming back off to the side of my face and then being able to finish and stop at the point to where all I have to do is just bring it over to my jawline where I like to anchor. Being able to do this is going to simplify the movements. It's going to keep a lot of people from dipping the hand down and lifting the elbow up and creating some excess problems there, or drawing down towards your chest and reaching your hand up as well. So we want to avoid those 2 motions. These are things that you can do when you're working on blank bail. So up close practice when you're just focusing on certain aspects of our form and our process. Or you can even incorporate these into your shot routine and when you're shooting the bow. Today's video sponsor is Fletch vanes. Fletch vanes are vanes that I've used for a long time. I took a break, tried some other brands out, tested them to see what I thought, and ultimately arrived back at using this company's vanes. For a lot of reasons. I like the stability that they give the arrow. On my indoor arrows, I noticed that they're a little bit more forgiving when I am torquing or doing something a little bit off with my shot. Also noticed that I can fletch them to be able to correct the arrow flight a little bit quicker and get it spinning a little faster out of the bow. For my indoor arrows, I'm using the Fletch 360 vane. This is what I've got. These are the clear ones. They come in a multitude of colors that you can get. These 360 vanes are what I use on 27s. Can also use them on 23s as well. And then on my 3D arrows, I'm using one of their newer vanes is how I like to configure it. And then they also have some out now that are even newer for specifically for Fletch setups. So keep that in mind when you're looking at this with the company. These are vanes and a company that support this channel. I would hope that you would like to be able to support them back. Their 187 vanes are one of the most winningest vanes on the World Archery outdoor 50-meter game. Mike Schlosser uses those as well as a ton of other archers. And they were the original vanes that I started using from Fletch. They can take a beating. All of their vanes can, but you really notice it when you start stacking arrows into a target like that. And they can get damaged, go through a target bail, come back out, and maintain their shape. So check these out. They're super easy to fletch. They hold really well. I haven't had any issues with these flying off in the middle of a tournament like I have some of the other brands. Check them out. All right, the next set of drills that I want to talk about revolves around our releases. And this specifically is going to be the pressure in the release, whether it be a thumb release or a hinge release, to get it balanced for you in a way that helps steadiness, helps with your aiming on target. In our members video this week, I'm going to deep dive into this and talk about the range that I like to be using, whether it be a thumb release or a hinge release, on the adjustment and the timing of them. But just in this video today, let's focus on the balance points and how we're executing the shot. With a thumb button release, I like to tell everybody, keep the thumb trigger tension heavy enough that you can place your thumb on there and not have a fear of it firing. We want to actually use this to engage steadiness in our shot. And for me, I like to have this release balanced out between my index and my middle finger on a thumb release. That way I'm not overly cranking it in one direction or the other with my hand pressures. This allows it to be incredibly consistent on the rocker position from one shot to the next. And then with that, I use the outer fingers and my thumb to build pressure into the release when I anchor and get a little bit of a preload built in, and that actually steadies my shot out. You'll notice that it takes a lot of the little trimmers out from your release hand, and it really helps us when we go to execute our shot from there. With a hinge release, it's a little different, but I like to be just on the edge of that balance point with my index and my middle finger, and then using these outer fingers to be able to engage a little bit more, get myself to the click right before I run out of the balance point of the natural rotation of these hinge releases. And then from there, that allows me to not be overly index heavy and rely just on the index, and allows me to use more of my overall hand pressure. If we rely just on drawing that hinge release back with our index and holding it anchor with the index, anything that we do to relieve pressure off of our index finger to allow the rotation to happen in the hinge will directly affect our aim. It can make you start to dip low on target because you're leaking pressure. It can see some variance in our anchor points and how that peep sight is falling out of the scope or shifting and moving around on the scope, and a lot of other problems. So allowing us to balance that release out a little bit better between the index and the middle finger gets it a little bit better in our hand to where we're not fully reliant on one finger being the holding point for that release. Then you can pull through the shot, relax, increase, or whatever you're doing, and it will help you maintain the good aim that you have at anchor all the way through your shot execution. If you're liking this content and you're not a member and want to see extra videos, down below there is a link where you can see the 2 options to join this channel. Every week you get some extra content, whether it be specifically on something to extend on the videos like what this week's will be, or whether it's a live stream or something totally extra just behind the scenes or more information for you. Thank you again for watching this channel. I'll see you soon.